From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. The House is expected late Thursday to approve President Donald Trump's request to claw back about $9 billion for public broadcasting and foreign aid as Republicans target institutions and programs they view as bloated or out of step with their agenda. The White House had described the package as a test case and said that if Congress went along, more would come. The House's approval would mark the first time in decades that a president has successfully submitted a rescissions request to Congress. Trump undertook a similar effort in his first term, but the bill faltered in the Senate. Opponents voiced concerns not only about the programs targeted, but about Congress ceding its spending powers to the executive branch as investments approved on a bipartisan basis are being subsequently canceled on party line votes. No Democrats supported the measure when it passed the Senate 51-48 in the early morning hours on Thursday. 2 Republicans also voted no. We need to get back to fiscal sanity, and this is an important step. House Speaker Mike Johnson, the Republican from Louisiana, told reporters shortly after the chamber opened. The package cancels about $1.1 billion for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and nearly $8 billion for a variety of foreign aid programs, many designed to help countries where drought, disease, and political unrest endure. The effort to claw back a sliver of federal spending comes just weeks after Republicans also muscled through Trump's tax and spending cut bill without any Democratic support. The Congressional Budget Office has projected that measure will increase the U.S. debt by about $3.3 trillion over the coming decade. And now this news that combines Medicaid recipients' data and immigration. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials will be given access to the personal data of the nation's 79 million Medicaid enrollees, including home addresses and ethnicities, to track down immigrants who may not be living legally in the United States, according to an agreement obtained by the Associated Press. The information will give ICE officials the ability to find the location of aliens, that's in quote, across the country, says the agreement signed Monday between the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services and the Department of Homeland Security. The agreement has not been announced publicly. The extraordinary disclosure of millions of such personal health data to deportation officials is the latest escalation in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, which has repeatedly tested legal boundaries in an effort to arrest 3,000 people daily. Lawmakers and some CMS officials have challenged the legality of deportation officials' access to some states' Medicaid enrollee data. It's a move first reported by the Associated Press last month that Health and Human Services officials said was aimed at rooting out people enrolled in the program improperly. But the latest data sharing agreement makes crystal clear what ICE officials intend to do with the health data. And finally, Louisiana canceled a coastal restoration project funded by a $3 billion oil spill settlement. Louisiana on Thursday canceled a $3 billion repair of disappearing Gulf coastline funded by the 2010 Deepwater Horizon oil spill settlement, scrapping what conservationists call an urgent response to climate change, but Governor Jeff Landry viewed as a threat to the state's way of life. Despite years of studies and reviews, the project at the center of Louisiana's coastal protection plans grew increasingly imperiled after Landry, a Republican, took office last year. Its collapse means that the state could lose out on more than $1.5 billion in unspent funds and may even have to repay the $618 million it already used to begin building. The Louisiana Trustee Implementation Group, a mix of federal agencies overseeing the settlement funds, said that unused project funds will be available for future Deepwater Horizon restoration activities, but would require review and approval. The Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion Project aimed to rebuild upward of 20 square miles of land over a 50-year period in southeast Louisiana to combat sea level rise and erosion of the Gulf Coast. When construction stalled last year because of lawsuits, trustees warned that the state would have to return the hundreds of millions of dollars it had already spent if the project did not move forward. Former Louisiana Representative Garrett Graves, a Republican who once led the state's Coastal Restoration Agency, said that killing the project was, quote, a boneheaded decision not rooted in science. It is going to result in one of the largest setbacks for our coast and the protection of our communities in decades, Graves said. I don't know what chiropractor or palm reader they got advice from on this, but baffling that someone thought this was a good idea. You know, I have said that so many times since January, so many times. The project supporters stressed that it would have provided a data-driven large-scale solution to mitigate the worst effects of an eroding coastline in a state where a football field of land is lost every 100 minutes and more than 2,000 square miles of land have vanished over the past century, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Does this mean that if it keeps eroding into the Gulf of Mexico, and I do mean the Gulf of Mexico, not America, that Mike Johnson would be out of a job because his state would no longer exist? Oh, when the Saints go swimming in. That's the news for this hour. You can find PEP Radio on Roku, the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, and now on Alexa. Simply tell your device, Alexa, play PEP Radio. Well, up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.